special to me. You're special to me.
News, sports, entertainment, top 100 music on your Remedy Radio dial. Solutions 93.9.
Do not touch that dial.
Do you know hand washing is one of the best ways to stop infections from spreading? There are germs everywhere. Wash your hands thoroughly and consistently to help keep you and your family healthy. If you do get sick, good hand washing can help keep germs from spreading to others. Wash your hands.
This message is from Solutions 93.9 FM.
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning right here on the Remedy Dial Solutions 93.9. Welcome to another edition of From the Dailies as we look through the front pages of our Nigerian newspapers, get a perspective on the trending stories with analysis and feedback from you as well. Be reminded that we're streaming live on Facebook as well as YouTube at Solutions 939, so we do implore you to be a part of the conversation using any of these mediums. My name is Victory Onyedikachi, and I'll be taking stories from the Nigerian Tribune, the Vanguard newspaper, the Punch newspaper, and the Nation's newspaper. Let's get right into it. Alright, we start off with the Nigerian Tribune paper this morning. VAT remains 7.5%. Edun. NAF deploys senior officers. You can find that on page 2. 2027, Labour Party withdraws automatic tickets for OB and OT. The big story on the Tribune paper reads, NLC places workers on red alert as reason for Ajaro's arrests of faces. Riders to that demands his immediate release, threatens nationwide industrial action if, and directs DSS to end attack against us, Serap tells Tinubu. Sterling Bank leads with adoption of Africa's first indigenous banking system. Afenifere eulogizes Adebanjo. Man nabbed for allegedly killing grandparents' uncle in Ibadan. Federal government remands Osun traditional ruler for orders for alleged illegal gold mining in Ondo State. Bandits attack Kaduna Hospital, kidnap nurses, patients. Those found guilty of corruption should not enjoy pardon. AGF. These are the stories on the front page of the Tribune paper. Now let's take you through the Vanguard newspaper, starting off with the story. Naira depreciate to 1,660 Naira in the parallel market as scarcity hits dealers. Bandits kidnap nurses and patients, orders in Kaduna Hospital. Tinubu orders Finance Minister to exclude Varsities Research Institutes from TSA. Constitutional amendment. AGF to block presidential pardon for corrupt leaders. The biggest story on the Vanguard newspaper. Ajaro released as outrage trails arrest. Extortion. Lagos government bans toll collection on streets. These are the stories on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. And now to the Nation's newspaper. LP withdraws 2027 automatic tickets for Obi and Urti. Ajara released on bail hours after arrest. Bandit abduct nurses, patients in attack on hospital. AGF 6 end to pardon for corruption convicts. These are the stories you can find on the Nation's newspaper. And lastly, to the Punch newspaper, fuel landing cost rises, marketers fear high Dangote petrol price. Enugu Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom lead as MPOX spreads to 21 states. Ajara's arrest saga, DSS succumbs to pressure as NLC plans showdown. 4 billion naira illegal arms, lawyers' absence stalls suspects' arraignment. AGF plans to abolish pardon for convicted looters. Gunmen kill Anambra Beesman after 10 million ransom dump corpse in gutter. That's quite sad. Telecom service risks disruption as 800 workers begin strike. These are the stories from different national dailies: The Punch, The Nation, The Vanguard, and The Nigerian Tribune. Right now, we'll be joined by our analyst, Comrade Ayodele Ajishokbe, with in-depth analysis of some of the stories we've highlighted for you this morning. Do stay with us. Alright, welcome back. You're still listening to From the Dailies right here on the Remedy Dial Solutions 93.9. I'm now joined with Comrade Ayodele Ajishokbe virtually for analysis on the papers this morning. Good morning to you, Comrade. It's great to have you join us once again.
Yeah, good morning to you, my dear comrade brother. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I trust you're doing great.
By God, we are.
All right. So let's start off with one of the biggest story across, the national dailies this morning. The release of Ajaro on bail. You recall that yesterday we heard about his arrest on his way out of the country at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja while heading to the United Kingdom for an official announcement. And that arrest trailed a lot of conversation and agitation across board. And we're seeing that he's been released and the DSS had succumbed to pressure. So I think my first question will be, our practice of democracy and these administrations' response to dissenting views from different quarters. We're also seeing Serap calling, the government and asking them to devoid several engagements as it concerns, their divergent views. There's a story on that, with Serap making such demand. We know how Serap will always sue this government, even though most Nigerians have argued that they do not win any of these cases. But they're bringing to our awareness, some policies that we need to really question. And they're saying the government should really, go back as against attacking them when they put out dissenting views with regards to policy. So my question is regarding, democracy and the freedom of expression and speech. with what Ajero has experienced, and Serap also calling on the government. What are your thoughts?
Now, you see, I find it quite amusing sometimes. The arrest of Joe Ajaero by DSS, it would never, it couldn't have been a surprise. You understand? You see, the matter is not concluded yet. It was the police that invited him the other day and released him, I think on bail or so.
Yes, on
the
bail.
DSS. And the issues that were being talked about were the issues of terrorism. You understand? You will recall that it was actually the DSS that invaded, that's the word that was used, those are not my words, that invaded NLC headquarters. You understand? But it was now the police that invited him. We should know that these things are procedural. If DSS invaded the office and they had not invited him, you should know that DSS will of course invite him also. You understand? But police, being the primary agency for internal security, was the first one to invite him. You understand? And of course, if it was DSS that invaded, unquote, in that office, you would expect that DSS would invite him. And you see, the DSS is different in mode of operation from the police. When the police invited Ajaero said he didn't have time. He had other engagements. I wrote back to them and gave them a date. You understand? DSS called him and phoned him. You understand? And the man did not honor the invitation. He was going to board the flight.
Hello?
But the next at DSS, they are deeply involved. You see, that is part of the mandate of the DSS. But you see, in the circumstances of NLC, Labour, Serap, and all of them, you understand, being a pain in the butt of this administration from day one, it will happen. And the issue I have spoken on a number of occasions to Oluwadari, the executive director, I think, of Serap. And you see, all these things you guys are doing. But you see, it is social engagement, raising the consciousness of people. You say they don't win the cases, even one or two that they won, there was no enforcement. But they are raising the consciousness of people about what is happening. And that is more important than anything else. When you get information, there's no way, consciously or unconsciously, you will process it. You understand? Once there is XYZ has been stolen and they provide evidence, your consciousness will be aroused as a citizen. You understand? Whether you can truly process it or not, but you will come to certain conclusions. You understand? So that is the role of Serap. Let them come out. Let them come out and accuse Serap. You understand? Foreign funding. Of course, we know that Serap takes money from certain global organizations based on their mandate. You understand? And it is not only Serap, but Serap. Look at it now. We have so many CSOs. How many of them are spoken and have consisted as Serap since 1999? Do you hear of them again? All those CSOs have fought the military. Do you hear of them again? It is only Serap that has remained consistent. And when they come out with facts and figures. You understand? So let government come out, let DSS come out, because DSS is directly under the presidency anyway. So let them come out and tell us what the allegations are against Serap. You understand? So you see, when you are in the forefront of such struggles, of course, you will recall that people like Gadi Farahani and others, they always had Femi Falana. They always had either in their home or in their offices or in their cars, whether they are, even when they are in transit, they have small bags, hold all bags. They are ready for detention. You understand? So that they will not lack the basics until they get. Yes, they're ready. In their homes, they had a bag packed. In their offices, they had a bag packed on standby. even in their cars as they move around.
Doesn't
So
this
if
tell
they are
about
apprehended, they
democracy,
just
comrade? If people like that who knows for a fact that, once there is a policy that they don't agree with, they will always have a divergent view and they will be expressive about it, but they have to live with the fear of the possibility of getting arrested. Doesn't this tell with our
you
practice
see, the
of
problem
democracy?
in Nigeria is that when the police or security agencies apprehend you, you understand, in our own democracy, they will now start doing what they call fishing for evidence. You understand? Rather than conclude their investigation before apprehending. And there are ways of tracking people, so much so that when you apprehend them eventually and you confront them with evidence, they will quickly plead guilty. You understand? So you now arrest people and start fishing for evidence from them. That's the problem with our security. Fishing for evidence, not just CSOs and all of that. Even those who are alleged to have stolen the funds, public funds, you arrest them and start fishing for evidence. You take bulldozers to their houses. You want to go through the roof and all of that. I think it is still. You see, our security agencies are. You are working in public interest. You understand? If you are working in public interest, you must not be seen to be working against. And these people are presumed innocent until found guilty. What about the media trials we have had in this country? So much so that people's names, even when they are cleared by the court, people will say, only anyone, OG is still 500 million. You understand? Based on media trial. You understand? And we can do better than that. But I think it is a part of the colonial heritage. The security agencies were set up, to monitor and deal with the people. That orientation has not changed. The agency responsible basically for internal security, the Nigeria Police, has an F at the end of his name. Nigeria Police Force. The police is not a force. The police is a service. And they are operating like a force. How can you police by force? You don't police by force.
So the foundation is questionable. But because of our time, let's move over to the second story, which is AGF plans to abolish pardon on convicted looters. I mean, you had mentioned, people who are convicted, and this is a development that some people would applaud, but some Nigerians would say it's quite late, because while some countries are giving capital punishments to people who've been found guilty of corruption, we see some of our ex-presidents granting pardon. Goodluck Jonathan did same. President Muhammadu Buhari did same. And just right now, the AGF, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, is saying anyone found guilty of corruption should not be granted state pardon. What are your thoughts to this new development as they plan to process this?
You see, criminality is criminality. You understand? Criminality is criminality. When you say prerogative of mercy, globally, prerogative of mercy is prerogative of mercy. But our own situation is peculiar. We are in a society where everything is abused. And you see there's tendency for abuse, not just in our society. When Donald Trump was president, he abused office, you understand? It is expected that after some time, people, decorum will have evolved and people will not abuse office. But this man came and abused office. But you see, even in America, I think there's one man called Jack Rich. When Clinton was leaving office, he a globally known criminal. They pardoned him. But they did not steal public funds. But their actions endangered lives, the public. But they pardoned him. That is what they call prerogative of mercy. But if our situation demands it, that anyone found guilty of, pilfering or corruption, because corruption is different from, just like Jonathan said, people think corruption is about stealing money. Anyone involved in corruption is perversion of processes. You understand? Especially the ones that endangers the nation economically. The ones they call EFCC, economic and financial crimes. The ones that borders on economic and financial crimes. Why not? With their jail, let them be in jail. They should not be pardoned. I agree with him. I agree with him. I remember somebody in the early 80s, when the civilians came in 1979, he was a political ally of a particular party. He had been jailed around 77 or 78. You understand? And of course, people said it was a setup. A decent man, a lawyer, you understand? People said it was a setup. But he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar, receiving stolen goods, you understand? A car. But when the politicians came in 1979, they arranged and pardoned him in the old Oyo state, you understand? So, but if there are corruption, economic and financial crimes, I don't think they should be pardoned. I agree with the Attorney General. And he said that at an ICPC roundtable. But the problem is, when the bill goes to the National Assembly as executive bill, will those, the people that will pass it, that are the target. They are the primary target. Abi?
Yeah.
Since they are the primary target, will they pass it? But
well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But the question is, those people who are the primary target are the ones that will pass it. But maybe they are our representatives. That is why social consciousness is necessary. So that when that bill is going, before it goes, the Attorney General will have done, a roundtable, will have sensitized the people, and then the constituents take it up and start pressurizing their member of House of Rep and their senators. You must pass it. You must pass it. You understand? Or else we just hear that it has been thrown out of the National Assembly after second reading.
Well, let's hope that we have there will be
and there will be no public hearing.
I mean, I think this will be a developing story. We're going to see more updates, as we progress. So hopefully, we have divergent opinions from different members of the House of Rep. But finally, let's talk about insecurity. The spate of insecurity in this country is becoming worrisome. Some areas in the northern part of this country is unsafe, as it were. We have Kaduna, we have Zamfara. You would recall that over 100 students were kidnapped a couple weeks back, and right now we're seeing a report that bandits abduct Kaduna nurses, patients, after failed school attack. Apparently, they wanted to attack a school, but on getting to the school premises, they discovered that it was empty, so they resorted to visiting a hospital, and they kidnapped 2 nurses and an unaccounted number of patients. Imagine people who came to receive health care now being kidnapped. It's just sad what we see in this country. It's just sad. And the numbers just keep increasing. Every day we get reports of kidnapping, but there are no resolve, there are no solutions as to how to stop this menace of insecurity in the northern part of the country.
You see, we should be conscious of the fact that what we call banditry has evolved. And it is not strange. When this thing started, and there were projections that it will evolve, you understand, insurgency. There were security reports that it will evolve, and then it moved from the northeast to the northwest. We now call it banditry. You understand? It has become an economic activity. When kidnapping started in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, and all of that, you understand? It was a political weapon. You understand? And globally, in Italy, when it was a serious matter and they even kidnapped the prime minister, it always started out as a political weapon. It has evolved to be an economic weapon now. It is, and to put it bluntly, kidnapping is business. Just like war is business. People are making tons of money, and it is looking easy. Even at the local level, the children, sons and daughters are arranging even their own kidnap to extort money from their parents. Have you not seen that? People have seen it. You understand? Cousins are kidnapping their Uncles are kidnapping their nieces and nephews, and it is business. That is what should be addressed. It is business, and if it is business, then there is a social economic underpinning to it, and weapons are available. Those who do it as serious business. Can you imagine? You want to go and kidnap or rob a school? Don't you know that schools are on vacation, especially primary and secondary schools? You understand? You didn't know they are on vacation, and those people, you see, and there's an army. That is why it is thriving in the north so loudly. There is a standing army of ignorant people that do not know their left from their right. You understand? An army. That is why people, Northerners like Sanusi Lamido, Sanusi have said, over these decades when the North has been in power, of what benefit has it been to the Northern population? That army, that standing army, that ever-ready army, it is the army that will undo the North. Go and put it down. That's not a prophecy. It is a reality. That army will undo the North. Imagine the destruction that is going on in the North. All of the Northeast, most of the Northeast, a good portion of the Northeast. Thank God for people like Baba Gana. Thank God for our military. But what is happening in the Northwest now? Northwest, even in Katsina, when the Buhari was president, more than at least half of all the local governments were under the control of that, even when he was president. Can you imagine that?
Comrade, I share in your passion. I honestly do. Unfortunately, we're pressed for time as it is.
Yes,
and insecurity is a subject that we cannot stop talking about until we've been able to nip it to the board. So I'm sure by tomorrow we'll have more reports. Just as the 100 students were finally found in Zamfara State and were released eventually, let's hope that the nurses and the patients from the hospital who were abducted would receive developing stories about their safety.
I say amen. I say amen.
Well, thank you, Comrade Shokbe, for being with us this morning.
My pleasure, always. God bless you.
All right. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Well, with that, we've come to a wrap on From the Dailies this morning. Tomorrow we'll bring you more stories from different dailies across our Nigerian newspapers. My name is Victory Onyedikachi. Good morning to you.